Hello, fellow dreamers, and welcome to my space. So, today we're going to be doing a framework session, a lunar framework session on the waning, yeah, it is waning, right? Yeah, the waning crescent in Libra. And the waning crescent is also known as the balsamic moon, and I call them the fingernail moons. I don't know. It's very cute. So, this waning crescent in Libra, specifically in Libra, is essentially it's going to be showing us what we have learned about partnerships, about relationships this entire time since that full moon in Gemini. So if you remember, that full moon in Gemini was really talking about seeing unconditional love expressed by an outside force, so like, or outside energies outside of your own particular circumstances. So that was kind of coming through as like seeing a couple that was expressing love, or seeing maybe like some animals that are doing that, or whatever it may be, or even like it was kind of also referring to like children playing together and seeing the unconditional love that was shared between them. And what it was doing for the collective was that it was melting. It's like it was melting their hearts and kind of making them a bit softer. And there was also a realization that yes, that unconditional love, that feeling, that resonance with someone else is something that I want to experience. So as a collective, we were all kind of undergoing an understanding, a lot of there was a lot of things that were underneath the surface for us. And it was, in a sense, like awakening our hearts, awakening us to literally the energy of love. And as we moved through to the disseminating moon, we were starting to give thanks for those relationships that were in our lives, that were expressing that love. And the cutest thing ever was that we as a collective, well, it seems like a part of us as a collective were receiving that gratitude, and then a part of us were also giving thanks, and it happened literally over Thanksgiving, like literally over Thanksgiving. So it's just so fascinating to me how everything really, it truly is all in alignment. Everything is all in alignment. And so what was happening during that waning gibbous, or the disseminating moon, I believe it was in Cancer, was that there was something that was being hidden. And as the moon progressed and in the waning, it's like that symbol of love, or the feelings, the emotions that we were sharing with one another, maybe they were like even secret, were being completely expressed. Everything was out in the open. It was too hard to hold in that love anymore, and everything was being expressed. And so in this last quarter, as it moved through Virgo, that was really showing us that, okay, so we had this wonderful experience of, seeing unconditional love, feeling it melting our hearts, us then wanting to express that same type of love to the people who are the most valuable in our lives. And then there was a point where it's like we knew as a collective that we have to break the old habits. Perhaps maybe break the old habits of not expressing love, or break any type of old habits that is keeping us in a space where love is not an option. Do you see what I'm saying? So now with this balsamic moon, we're in a space of reflection. The balsamic moon typically always talks about reflection, reflecting back on what you learned through this entire span of time. So with this balsamic moon, it looks, especially with it being in Libra, it kind of looks like we're going to be reflecting back on our relationships, our partnerships, the ones who we care for, the ones who we connect with, are in love with, all of those gorgeous things. So let's get a underlying energy for this balsamic moon or waning crescent and Libra and see what it has to tell us. So we have the Selkie. Interesting. So I feel like, if I'm not mistaken, I think that the Selkie also came up in the last quarter. Yeah, so we're still a little bit under that energy. That energy is still starting to, it's waning, but, you know, of course it's waning. But it is still residing in our underlying energy. And what that's referring to is like shedding that old skin, shedding that old bad habit, if you will, of hiding, and of hiding our true feelings, of hiding our emotions and our love of about who we want to share that with. And not only that, it's like we're also shedding, like in that Virgo, in that last quarter in Virgo reading, we're shedding the comfort zone, because love requires vulnerability. And in order to be vulnerable, you kind of have to step outside of your comfort zone and, you know, to express yourself. And so that's what this Selkie is coming across through with today. The message that it's coming across with is that shedding the old comfort zone of maybe perhaps hiding away and moving into a space where everything is out in the open. It's in the air. It's talking about, it's fascinating. It's like, instead of things being maybe telepathically communicated, or communicated in a way that's in the water realm. So yeah, like telepathic communication, or maybe empathically communicating, like, oh, I can feel you, that type of thing. It's like we're now expressing all of that vocally in the air, because she's moving from the water to the air. So it's talking about, instead of holding everything in, we're reflecting back on, no, everything needs to be out in the open. Everything needs to be in the air. And yes, while it is very beneficial to be able to telepathically communicate with our partners and everything, to share emotional spaces when necessary, of course, it's like there's also a lot of benefit in actually expressing it, kind of like through words of affirmation. That's what the Selkie energy is talking about in our underlying energy. So, and what I'm also noticing is that, you know, you can't see it here, but she's actually reflecting down back into the water. So she's reflecting, we as a collective are reflecting back about how we feel about these types of situations, how we feel about our partnerships. You know, everything has been expressed and opened and, you know, out in the air. And now we're kind of looking back at perhaps maybe the way that we used to do things. And in a sense, it feels as though we're looking forward now. We're now looking forward with a new frame of mind. So on the bridge, to see where we're looking forward at the star. So this is so beautiful, because it's talking about holding those ones that we deem as the most important people to ourselves, our lives, our healing as well. You know, we have partnerships. Okay, there's a lot coming through here right now. And what it's referring to is that partnerships provide a space where you can heal. And, you know, by being in a safe space with a partner that is allowing yourself to, that is allowing you to express yourself authentically, purely, with that gorgeous vulnerability that the star energy brings, that in of itself is healing. So we're reflecting back on our feelings, our emotions, bringing everything into the air. You know, the star card is actually Aquarian energy, which is air. But you know, the fascinating part is that a lot of people actually think Aquarian energy is water. So there's an interesting dynamic there where it's the movement from water to air. So it's like this, we're reflecting on the people who provide safe spaces for us to be completely open and vulnerable, and to come into a space where there's an incredible amount of healing that can be had here. And just like with that, what was that? It was a disseminating moon in Leo, I believe, or Cancer. It's like just like that thing that the Emperor was holding in his hands. It's like now that is actually being revealed. You can see how this star is revealing it. Like that is the purpose. That was the purpose of this full moon in Gemini. It's like as the moon is waning, we're starting to realize all of the things that were being taught to us during that space of the full moon in Gemini. And you know, it's kind of taken us a moment to get there, but it's like the time that we spent on that was incredibly precious. The star is coming through as something that is incredibly precious. So let's look at the overall energy. Wow, that came out really fast. It's right there. And this one too. Okay. All right. So this overall energy for us. Oh, this is very fascinating. So I'm just taking a peek at it because I'm trying to see how exactly to express this. So the overall energy is the Ten of Swords and this Lunar Moth, and I'm seeing the energy moving this way. So what it's talking about, you see how this energy is moving this way, moving into a space of healing. And now we're coming across this as the overall energy being of moving away from a space of this Ten of Swords, from a space where we feel like it's coming through as like utterly alone, because there's almost in a sense like it's like a fear or a paranoia that those who love you will inevitably like hurt you or harm you. And so we're actually, this is so fascinating. Right now during this balsamic moon, we're reflecting back on this energy and also moving forward and away from it too, and kind of transitioning ourselves into moving towards relationships that are holding safe space, or that are healing us, that are providing a place where we can be totally vulnerable and open. And it's like, that's what, see, we're moving out of this and into the Lunar Moth. And the Lunar Moth, so the Lunar Moth can sometimes come through with like a supernatural flair to it. It does talk about the psychic energy, but here what it's referring to is having both that telepathic communication with our partners, while also, it's very interesting. It's almost like, it's kind of like leaving something to be desired. Okay, so yes, we're moving into a space where we are expressing ourselves, holding, putting everything in the air, completely, like our love is known, right? Is known to our partners. But now this is kind of talking about like leave something to be desired, and leave it in the telepathic realm, in the psychic realm, because it's like that's what's incredibly enticing to your partner, is maybe also perhaps the things that they don't know. The things that they don't know. That's interesting. it's giving me like an air of mystery. So there's a sense here that, yes, express yourself, express your love to your partner in all ways that you can. But there's also something about how, like, leaving something to be desired, or creating an air of mystery, an air, like creating, oh, that's interesting. There's a play on words, creating an air, like legacy. That was coming through in that full moon in Gemini reading. Creating an heir, like an heir to the throne type of thing. It's like maybe that, okay, maybe that energy is what we're going to be going into the new moon with. Is like, you know, that emperor had kind of revealed this thing, revealed their love, right? And that's revealed, but there's also something, it's almost as if there's also something else that is hidden, but not in a way that is like hiding secrets or anything like that. It's more coming through as a way of maybe just not quite ready to be yet revealed. It's like that this full moon in Gemini brought about a new understanding of the relationships that we have with other people. And now that is developing, it's moving into the next stage. And whatever this next stage is, it's like now that is the new thing that's being held within. And if you want to discover what that thing is, it's like you'll be able to access it through the telepathic connections that you have with your partners. It's like look, okay, yes, everything is in the open, in the air. Look, like kind of look back and see what's there, because there's something, it's almost like there's a little mystery that's there. Maybe something that your partners are desiring. And now, of course, these don't have to necessarily be romantic partnerships. They can be partnerships of any type. So with that being said, enjoy this balsamic moon in Libra, and I shall see you next time. Bye.